She Boss Talk. I am Shantae Roddy. I'm coming on to talk about fraud and scams as it relates to SBA programs such as the PPP program and the Eidl program. I'm coming on to discuss this, not only to discuss, but really to make you aware of the issues that are impacting small business owners, what to look out for, what to do if you believe that you have been impacted, what to do to save yourself if you have been involved, whether indirectly or directly. This is very important because fraud is a crime, and understanding when you're dealing with federal programs that they speak to each other, right? And that it is very probable that it can result in some type of penalty. So we'll be talking about those as well. I'll let you know. Also, you'll see on the screen that's posted there the show. If you know someone that has been fraudulent or someone has committed fraud against you, you do have the opportunity to report it. You can do so anonymously if you so choose. You do not have to do it, but know that you can submit information anonymously if you need to. Now, just to give you make sure you understand what fraud is, right? Because there's a number of different scenarios that we're going to be addressing today because there's just so much that is happening. But I'm going to right now start a video in just a few seconds to give you a clear understanding of what is going on out there with businesses, whether they're lying on their applications, whether they're taking the money, the PPP and Eidl money and using them for in ways that is not intended for personal use, lavish use, whatever the case may be. So you know what's going on and what could be happening with regards to you as well. I want you to tune in. So just want to welcome everyone into the show. Let me know that you're here. Let me know that you can hear me and see me as well. I want to make sure you get this information because this program has been a benefit for so many. But it is a real big problem of the fraud that is out there that really keeps the money out of the pockets of the business owners who it is intended to serve, those that have been struggling due to COVID-19. I think that's something that a lot of people don't understand is this is not just a free money pool. This is actually money that is for legitimate businesses that have suffered as a result of COVID-19. So as you're coming on, just want to thank you for your continued support. Do subscribe if you have not subscribed already. Do share this out because as much as we shout the other videos telling people to get their money, we want to let them know how to stay, how to protect themselves and how to not be charged with a crime and be convicted because they are going after people. So you need to be aware. So I'm going to share this short video really quickly, and then we're going to move on to the next thing.
Coronavirus pandemic, and he's accused of scamming more than $1 million from a COVID relief federal loan program. And tonight we're learning more about how prosecutors say he pulled it off.
Channel 2 consumer investigator Bill Spencer takes you inside this alleged scheme, how he got caught, and what's being done to take down even more scammers.
Sir, this is a Rolex. This is the finest timepiece money can buy. It's all 18 karat gold.
A shopping spree for luxury items and spending hundreds of thousands of dollars in just a matter of days. That's what federal prosecutors say this man, 29-year-old Lee Price III of Houston, did immediately after receiving more than $1.6 million by defrauding an emergency COVID-19 relief program called the Paycheck Protection Program. It's a loan program specifically designed to help struggling small business owners pay their workers. But prosecutors say Price defrauded the program by applying for 5 different loans at 5 different banks in Boston, Salt Lake City, Oklahoma City, Charlotte, and San Francisco, all to obtain money for non-existent companies that had no employees. The Small Business Administration oversees the program.
With Mr. Lee inappropriately using those funds, that's one less business that wasn't able to, utilize those funds as they could have.
That one business could have been the Imagine Me Academy, Brandy Woods is the owner who applied for $40,000 through the PPP loan program, but was initially turned down.
Not only was I devastated, I was faced with the fact that I may have to tell my employees and the families we serve that our doors was going to have to close. It was one of the most horrible days of my life.
And make them into crowns and play king of the forest.
And when she heard about Lee Price receiving more than $1 million in fraudulent loans meant to rescue legitimate business owners like her, she was stunned.
You know, for this man to just literally snatch that money from companies who need it, it's deplorable.
According to the official criminal complaint against Lee Price III, he started spending that PPP money almost immediately on incredibly lavish items, including $233,000 on a Lamborghini Urus like this one. And that was just the beginning of his spending spree. Prosecutors say Price spent another $14,000 on a Rolex watch, $2,500 on 2 Houston nightclubs, $2,000 at a local strip club, and more than $100,000 to lease a brand new office in Memorial City.
It saddens me that it happens, but you got to expect it's going to happen with such a big program. There's going to be fraud involved.
Jerry Tonapole is an SBA loan specialist at Community Bank.
One lender in the Northeast did over 100,000 applications.
He says the problem is that some banks actually paid to get as many loan applications as they possibly could.
I know for a fact that bank took it from 3 online platforms. So people would go into a platform, they'd apply for their loan, and then that bank would pay that platform a commission for getting the loan done for them.
Lee Price III now faces several federal charges, including making false statements to a financial institution, wire fraud, and bank fraud. If convicted, he could serve more than 30 years in prison. On our website right now, we have the stories of 6 other people also accused of scamming the PPP loan program out of millions of dollars. And federal prosecutors are planning to charge more individuals in the months ahead.
Okay, so that was a video. I think it's important that I shared that video. I will be sharing some additional information as well. But I have had so many small business owners contacting me in my inbox about different people, whether it's their accountant, their tax person, or someone that they just met online, that they got to do their PPP application or Eidl application, and they had no clue of the information that they were submitting on their behalf. And afterwards, they found out that the information that they submitted was not accurate. So this is very important to know that these things are out there. So whether you're a business owner and you intentionally are doing it, or you're a business owner and you gave your information over to someone else to complete your information, the thing is that you're still left holding the bag, right? So that person is long gone. So it is definitely, let's start with the scam first, that you all are hiring people that you don't know, first of all, paying them thousands of dollars, which they're not supposed to charge you. If they charge you for assistance or advice related to the program, they're not supposed to charge you anywhere near 10%, 20%, 30% of your loan or of your grant or whatever federal stimulus monies that you're given. So what is happening is they getting their money, right? So they're charging you on the back end. That's typically how it works. They may charge you on the front end, but most are doing it on the back end because they know most of you all don't have money. So they're putting in information. They're falsifying information. So they are putting information that is false, that is untrue, that is not accurate, to be able to get you more money that they're saying that they can get you. So then once they do that, if you get approved, right? So some don't get approved because they're stopped, but some do get through. If they get through, then you're left holding the bag. Then when they come back, and they will, okay? So understand that these federal agencies speak to each other. That's why you see more and more that they're asking for more documentation. I mean, you have to go through a whole process, even new processes, even trying to request increases on your loan or to be able to get the targeted EIDL grant, or even to request first and second draw PPP, they're asking you for information. So now I'm getting people asking me, well, why now are they asking me to verify my tax returns? Why now are they asking me for my Social Security card and other types of verification? This is why, because the fraud and scams out there is such a huge issue. And then what happens is you're left, right? You paid them the money, but now if you're in a situation where it's fraudulent, or you submitted information that is incorrect, you got money that you weren't entitled to because you put in incorrect numbers, then you can possibly be penalized. So whether it's they come after you for civil, right, a civil suit, or they come after you for a criminal penalty. So, some of you are saying, well, we didn't get millions of dollars, right? I only got 5,000, I only got 10,000. It doesn't matter. Okay. Even if it's that small, they may say, okay, we're going to forego criminal charges and they're going to charge you on a civil basis. The bottom line is it's going to cost you more on the back end. And you just heard the gentleman say all these multiple levels of charges that you can get based on a fraudulent application. So it's multiple bank fraud. Okay. So you falsified bank records. Now that's bank fraud. Okay. You wired money inappropriately based on fraudulent information. Now that's wire fraud. Okay. You falsified information related to an SBA program. Now that's SBA fraud. I mean, the list goes on and on. So there's high penalties for that. So not only will you have to pay all the money back, they're going to charge you penalties and fees, and it's possible that they will prosecute you and convict you. And so you heard him, what he said is accurate in that you can get up to 30 years of imprisonment. These are serious crimes. So it is in your best interest. If you think even if you think you made a mistake on the application, it wasn't intentional, because I've had people come to me, or you found out that your accountant or whoever you had do it on the back end, you found out that they submitted incorrect information. Now you don't want to spend the money. You can always give the money back. You can contact your lender and ask them what the process is for paying that money back. If you think you are one of these people, I would highly encourage you to follow that process and do it. Now, I know earlier on in 2020, they had a process, and this is not even for fraud. It was for those companies, like publicly traded companies that really didn't need the money. That's an issue too, because they asked you to self-certify. Do you need this money? Have you been impacted by COVID-19? Did you have a loss? If you're making good money, you said you have a loss, and that is still falsifying information, right? So whether you certify, you check off that, you sign the document, that becomes a legal document that is on record. PPP, your PPP file, my PPP file is public, not public record, where anybody can see it. Anybody can see it and then be able to find out, investigate. It doesn't take a lot of work to discover if you were fraudulent on your applications and got money that you weren't entitled to. So we have people that are making up for businesses, just making them up, making up tax returns that don't exist, bank statements, invoices, right, for illegitimate businesses. Then we have people with legitimate businesses that are making up information, inflating their numbers. Regardless of which category you fall into, it works the same way. But what you don't want to do is be working with these people out here. They're everywhere. They're even on our channel. They're probably commenting right now, pretending to be the SBA or some legitimate organization that can help you, because they're counting on your desperation. What you don't want to be is desperate. They're counting on they're trying to take advantage of your vulnerability, and then they're going to leave it to you. Then the SBA, the IRS, the OIG is going to come back to you, and then what are the answers that you're going to have for them? How are you going to be able to explain that your information was incorrect, that you got money that you weren't entitled to? Are you going to be ready to pay that money back? Have you spent it already? So if you're coming in late, you scroll back to the beginning where I showed the video. One of the biggest problems that these fraudulent people, You get all this money, right? And then you're going immediately spending it on Lamborghinis and yachts and mansions. It's just throwing up red flags all over the place. You're just calling attention to yourself. You're just asking the police and the feds to come after you to come get back their money. By doing all of these lavish things. That is not what the PPP program is for. That is not what Eidl is for. If you're applying for the restaurant revitalization grant, that's not what that is for. Or the shutter venue grant, that is not what any of the federal monies are for. Any monies that you apply for, even at the state level, you should be concerned because they are coming after people more and more. Okay? So that is really important. I'm going to bring up really quickly to show you. And then even on top of that, some of you are on unemployment. Some of you are on Social Security, SSI, where you have income limitations. You're on other programs, Section 8, maybe other programs. And you're not thinking that, okay, you reported all this money. You got this loan. And you're still getting money from these programs for people that aren't supposed to have money, you're going to get caught at some point. It's going to happen. Okay. You're going to lose your benefit. So now you frauded all of these different systems. So you told them you weren't making money. So now you didn't got $50,000 from PPP. You got $50,000 from Eidl program. You didn't report it back to SSI, to the welfare. You didn't report it back to Section 8 or whoever you're supposed to be reporting it back to. They're going to find out about it. Okay, so it is in your best interest to be truthful and honest and to apply with integrity. And if you just happen to find out that you're one of the ones you got money that you shouldn't have gotten, return that money. Okay. And someone asked me, what if I just pay it back? Okay, you can pay it back or because you have that. You don't have to have their PPP fully forgiven. And if you fraud it and they catch you, you're not going to get it forgiven. Okay, so you gotten that money, they caught the fraud, and now you or the person you hired and paid all that money to is trying to submit it for forgiveness. Guess what? Now it's not forgiven. Now you're stuck with all that money that you have to pay back. Then you can't pay it back. You're going to go into default. Do you see the ripple effect that fraud has? So again, even if you didn't know, and I say this, it's the same with tax clients, right? Same thing that I preached like all these years. If you are reaching out to someone, they're coaching you or consulting you or doing your work for you, and they are not including you as part of the process, they don't allow you to see anything. Their name and signature is not on anything, and it's just left for you. You are the one that they are going to come back to, that the feds are coming to. You are the one, ultimately, you're the business owner who submitted the application. You allowed them to submit an application on behalf of you and your company. And so you and your company is who they're going to come after. So you want to be careful who you're working with out here. And then again, their name is not on anything. You don't know what numbers they put down, and you've gotten the money, but you've gotten caught. And I know a few days ago, we worked with a couple of lenders, and we got an email from one of our lenders, Womply, and a lot of lenders are putting out these notifications. So before the PPP program closed, before they ran out of funding, they put out a email notice because of the high increase of fraudulent applications that were coming through. And they indicated that the penalties and how wrong that is to do it, and that the federal government is subpoenaing their information. They're subpoenaing them, and they said that they are in full cooperation with them. So whatever they're asking regarding your file, if it is flagged as a fraudulent file, they are giving it over to the federal government. Whatever federal agency is asking for it, they will put a halt to your application. So some of you, your application nothing has happened. Know that may be the reason. It was caught, right? It was flagged for fraud, and it got stuck in the process, and they may or may not tell you. Especially if your file is under investigation, they probably are not going to tell you. Okay? So this is serious. This is real stuff. I'm telling you, people email me, message me every single day about these situations. That's why I felt it was important for me to come on and to talk about it. Now I'm going to bring up on my screen some additional information regarding the different types of frauds and the penalty. Are you ready for the penalty? Because you for $10,000 that someone lied about to get you $10,000 or $20,000. This is not free money. Now I talk about free money all day long, but there's always a price. You know, people say, okay, why they ask me for all this information? And I said before, so you expect the government to give you thousands of dollars, even millions of dollars for some of these programs, right? Like the newer ones that they rolled out. And you're not going to have to verify that you who you say you are. You're not going to have to verify that you have a legitimate business. Come on. That's not even realistic. So like literally, like people are out here like this is a game to people. Like let's get this fake money. This is free money. Like, have you gotten your PPP and you know you don't have a business? Okay, it's just insane. It's just insane. So I'm going to share my screen really quickly here. I mean, this is serious stuff. Okay, because I want to show you so you understand what are criminal penalties for SBA fraud, right? Several federal criminal statutes, several, not just one, apply to acts involving loan fraud. The specific crime charge will depend on the conduct and the organizations involved. For fraudulent acts related to the SBA and SBA-backed loan applications, prosecutors could seek criminal penalties for false statements to a federal agency, false statements to the SBA, false statements in a loan application, or bank fraud. I mean, you're talking about multiple levels. That means for each count, okay, you can be charged for all of these different counts related to your application. Okay, false statements, 5 years maximum penalty, imprisonment, incarceration, $250,000 fine. False statements to the SBA is a 2-year felony, subject to a fine of $5,000. Loan application fraud. Okay, this is up to 30 years incarceration and a fine up to $1 million. Bank fraud. You've involved the bank. The bank is the one you're transferring the money with or through. The conviction carries up to 30 years and $1 million. Wire fraud, mail fraud. You're wiring the money or having the money mailed. These are additional charges. Significant penalties for mail and wire fraud carry 20 to 30 years in federal prison, and fines can reach up to $1 million. Okay, so again, multiple levels of penalties that you can possibly be subjected to. Okay, so now is the time to really look at your loan, make sure that the information you submitted was correct. Go back to any of those people if you can even find them at this point. Okay, if you can find them and make sure you know what they submitted on your application, that you are 100% sure that the money you receive from these programs, PPP or Eidl programs, is what you were entitled to based on your income, right? So if you certified and said no to something you should have said yes to and you signed it, that's fraud. Okay, if you submitted a false bank statement, if you falsified tax returns, if you falsified P&L statements, any of those types of things is considered fraud. Okay, so again, if you have questions out there, I would highly recommend that you ask them. I see a lot of you all out here, and I know a lot of small business owners, we're frustrated by the fact that there's these people getting all of this money while we still have legitimate businesses that suffer, that still haven't gotten their money. They're still waiting, and money just ran out, and several business owners received an email yesterday saying that their application was now void because they ran out of money. Okay, or they've been in the pipeline for months waiting to get approved, or being approved and waiting to get their funding. But then it's people out there that's fraudulent, there's scam artists out there that's scamming you, and those are the ones that are getting the money. That is so unfortunate. So it's important, if you know of anyone that's doing this, do report them. Okay, do report them. Because that is not fair. You think it's not a crime against anyone, but there are businesses that are hurt. There are over 400. There are over 400, I believe, 1,000 businesses that have closed, and more are still continue to close. I mean, so just think about how they feel that they can't get the money, but you have people out here spending money on yachts and mansions and going on spending sprees. It makes no sense. So again, just make sure that you're on. Again, beware of the people in the comments. I know I've said before, people are even impersonate us, our show. They're on Telegram. We're not even on Telegram. Okay, so be mindful. And so we try to put this out a lot of times. People will comment in the YouTube videos on our Facebook, Instagram. They'll have an SBA logo, knowing full well they're not the SBA, and you all are talking to them. And I have people that catch them and they email us, they screenshot us, and I'm just like, thank you for letting us know. Right? Make sure you're not talking to them. Make sure you're not giving them information. No legitimate agency or company, even us, the SBA, is going to ask you for any personal information on Telegram, Instagram, text message, or otherwise. If it's not coming directly from the SBA, SBA.gov and SBA, all throughout their website, they continuously say that they make sure it has the .gov at the end. If it's not .gov, it is not the SBA. I have blocked many channels on YouTube claiming to be the SBA, and they're not. If you click on their channel, it says it have 0 subscribers or 1 subscriber, and they're not the SBA. They're just grabbing a logo that says SBA. But then we see some of you all, you're actually talking to them, and they're saying, okay, give me your information, and you're giving them your information. Don't do it. So then you have, on top of that, you have identity theft. So now they're stealing your identities. And then they're filing multiple applications. So we've seen that too, where now you're stuck. You've been approved. You signed your promissory note for PPP, and now the SBA is rejecting it, okay, because there's a duplicate application. So either you duplicated it or someone else took your identity and did another application on behalf of your company. So now you have to go through all of that hassle to try to figure that out and see if you can beat the clock to get funding. So again, this is serious. I just want you all to take this seriously. You have peers and friends. I know you do, because you all have told me, you know, people that are doing this, that had, they don't have a business. Okay. They said that they have 50 employees. You know, they don't have any employees. So if you said you have 10 employees and you know you don't have employees, it's only you, that's fraud. Okay. And so we know people did that with the Eidl program, in the beginning to get to get the Eidl grant up to 10,000 at the time. It was per employee. And they said that they had 10, knowing full well they did not have any employees. Now we know that they were not, back then, we know that there's going to be some level of fraud, but this is just out of control. But in the beginning, it was so lax. Like we know that they failed to put certain controls in place. This 4506T is one of those controls to prevent fraud, because the SBA can then use this form to request from the IRS to verify that there is a tax form on file. Anybody can say they have a business. Anybody, these criminals are very skilled. Okay. They use Photoshop and all types of other. That's why I said, how you go through all that work to forge documents, to make up documents. That's a lot. That's a lot to have to go through to do that. But they're going to be systems, whether they catch it on the front end or the back end, is going to be caught eventually. Okay. So that's why it's important to keep your records. If anybody ever come back to me asking me to verify anything, I have it. If they ask you to verify how you spent the money on your salary, you better be ready to show them, right? That money did not go to for your home repairs, because that's not what it's for. It didn't go to buy you a new car, because that's not what it's for. It didn't go towards you taking a trip, because that is not what it's for. So even if you got the loan legitimately, right, your income is right, you were due the money, and then you spent it on the wrong thing, that is fraud. Because they clearly tell you what you can spend the money on, and it must be related to business, and it's certain business related expenses, including payroll. Okay. So I show that I have paid myself. Like, I can spend 100% of my PPP on my salary replacement, owner's compensation, right? So we can do that. So it clearly shows that my business paid me, Shantae, a certain amount of money every week until it equaled out to the full amount. So if anybody come back to me, or I have my bank statement and I have my accounting system to be able to show. I have both bank accounts to show the transaction. Okay. And it will equal out to the money that they gave me. So if you possibly have a fraudulent application, whether you know it or not, again, it may be stuck. And if you got the money, what may happen is that once you get to the point that you're trying to request for forgiveness, you won't get it, because they're really cracking down, putting more controls in place to prevent this from happening. And when in the beginning they did this and the rules were really lax to try to get more people their money, so they really weren't asking you for your tax returns and all that. And now you're asking, okay, I'm trying to get this increase. Now, why are they asking me? They didn't ask me in the beginning. This is why. Because not everybody that got the grant should have, not everybody that got their loans should have gotten the loans, because it was fraudulent. So now, okay, so they didn't catch you then. Now they're going to catch you now. So some of you all that are applying for the targeted EIDL and you're like, oh, I got this, I should be able to get this money. You're not going to get it if they flag your account for fraud. That's why I said many times about stop submitting multiple applications. Right? If you're a 1099 worker and you do 1099 work for 20 companies, you're not going to submit 20 applications to the SBA. All that does is delay it. It throws up a fraud flag. That is fraudulent. Okay? And again, they're going to now come back and ask you for your tax returns. And not only that, that's not even enough. They have to verify that it's on file with the IRS. Anybody could make up a tax return. Okay? So if you have questions, I'm just going to go through here really quickly. It's just so important to just operate with integrity. I mean, don't be that greedy. I'm telling you, but when it comes back, I mean, there was one roofer, they convicted him. I mean, he had a thriving business, and decided to be out of greed that he wanted to make up these businesses and then get all of this money and then spend it lavishly. And they caught him. You're going to get caught, whether it's now, whether it's tomorrow, whether it's next week, next month, or next year. Just be prepared. And that's not going to be pretty. I wouldn't want to be in a situation where somebody comes ringing my bell, knocking on my door, and raiding my place of work or home, and putting me in handcuffs because I have frauded the system. The federal government does not play. That is taxpayer money that you are dealing with. So just be mindful of that. I'm just scrolling through to see. I see all the comments. I know. I hear you guys. all the time. I follow up in the comments. One of our viewers is saying fraudsters always get approved, but the real businesses are still struggling. That should not be the case. I mean, if we've had millions of loan applications approved, but there are too many that have been that are fraudulent. Man, I mean, if you again, I calculate all the time. I just told you all those different ways you can get hit with fraud. It's not just one. So, I mean, imagine you're charged with 3 different counts, and that's 100 years in prison and $3 million that you now owe the federal government. Oh, Lord. So the SBA should have been waiting until tax return time in 2020 is what someone is saying. Yeah, it's a lot of people. So that was just one. I mean, it's every day I see a new account, a new article, or someone else on the news that has been caught, couples that have been caught. Someone did the same thing for Appalachia Farm. I mean, I'm just like, what is this stuff? Why are they doing this stuff? And we have people that are really trying to get access to the money they need so that their business can survive. And so if you have any questions, what you need to do related to your applications, you need to follow up with your lender. All the lenders should have contact information. They should have a phone number and an email. I can't tell you how quickly you're going to get through. If you don't get through, call again, email again, and just keep doing it until you get through to someone. Some are better than others as far as a follow-up response. But this is important enough to make sure that you are covered, and that, you know, if you're in this situation, even if it wasn't intentional, and you find out that your information was submitted incorrectly, I know it's a big hit, it's a big loss, but it's better you return that money than they try to come back and get it. Okay. That's important. If you do need to reach out to the SBA, I've never had a problem getting through with the SBA, depending on the program, whether it's an Eidl loan, a targeted Eidl advance. They have specific emails and numbers that you can call to get through on that as well. Example, this is just an example. If you got first draw PPP and now you're aware that it was fraud or it was incorrect information, right? Someone submitted your incorrect information. I wouldn't apply for second draw. And if you apply for second draw, if it's in process, I would recommend that you correct your information and then try to do it. Don't do it with whatever information was submitted on first draw. Try to take care, again, return that first draw money, and you can try to see if you can get the second draw. But I know, especially if you're working with a bank that you have a relationship with, I have talked to some people that said that they called their bank, they explained the situation, and they're working with them. It's easier if you have a relationship with your bank. Some of these other companies, you don't really know them, and they're brokers for other lenders, but it's easier to do it if you have a personal relationship with your bank. I see a lot of people mention Blue Corn on here. I've heard of them. I'm not really familiar. I haven't worked with them. How do you pay yourself? Pay yourself out of your bank account. If you have a business account, set yourself up as a payee. That's what I did. Set yourself up as a payee. So your business is paying you. In the bill pay area, you should have this option, or you could just do it through your accounting system. You can set yourself up on bill pay through your accounting system to pay you into your personal account. So it's clearly a line item, and it's categorized, and they know what date, what the money was for, and I have it properly labeled. If you don't have a business account, you can still do this by moving money from a checking account to another, or checking account to a savings account, and tracking it on a spreadsheet, and labeling it if you can, because you should be able to do wire transfers, and there's like a little memo area, but you can track it on a spreadsheet as well as to when you transferred all this information and for what purpose, and then that can always be tracked back to the transactions that you made. So whichever way you want to do it, you can do it. Okay. Yeah. So people just tell, oh, you can just get this free money. No, that is not how it works. And people ask me too. People say, okay, someone asked me the other day, why did I only get $600? And someone got $20,000. I can't answer that question. Like, you don't know what other people, there's one calculation. The calculation across the board is the same. Now, what people put down is a different story. Like, you all are comparing yourselves to people that you don't know the full story. You don't have all the information. You don't know what they submitted. You don't know if they were truthful or not. Right? So for sure, if you got 600 and that person couldn't have had the same amount, because they wouldn't have equaled out to 20,000. That doesn't even make sense. The formulas that they use to calculate are the same. So, stop comparing yourselves to people. Like we said, there's fraud out here. You don't know what they're submitting. What all you need to know is what is the proper calculation, because some people struggle with that, understanding how to calculate. It just is what it is. And you take your line 7 for PPP, you multiply it by 12, you times it by 2.5 months of working capital, 3.5 months if you're in the food industry. It's the same calculation for all the millions of businesses that apply based on the line number. And then if you file your taxes in a different way, or you have a different business structure, the SBA and their rules and their guidelines, their program guidelines, have various calculations depending if you're a nonprofit, depending if you if you're S Corp, C Corp, if you have employees versus not having employees, there's different calculations. They do the same thing for the other programs, even for these newer programs. So I want to make you all aware, because these newer programs, again, they're federal programs, more money that is out here. And again, the penalties will be hefty, right? These newer programs, restaurant revitalization, shutter venue operators grant, those are up to $10 million in grant money, right? So if you haven't applied and you qualify, I highly recommend you apply. We have tons of videos on those programs. But the bottom line is, don't falsify information. Tell the truth. If you did good in 2020, COVID-19 didn't impact you, that's a great thing. Don't be sad about that, because everybody can't say the same. You should be, praising God that you're still in business, that you did well, because there's 400,000 other businesses that can't say the same. They permanently closed their doors. So don't be sad about, I didn't get this grant because I did well in my business, right? And don't be greedy when they ask you specifically, do you need this money? Did you have an economic loss? And you didn't, and you still applying for the grant or the loan anyway. It doesn't make sense, and it will come back to bite you. Okay? So it's not worth going to jail. It's not worth them giving the money back, which people have had to do, and they tack on the penalties and fees, similar to they do when you falsify tax records, and you covered it all. So just be mindful of that. Beware. Be conscious of people you're talking to on the threads, people that's reaching out to you in your inbox on Telegram, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, because they're not all legitimate. Vet out people. Get recommendations. We give recommendations all the time because they're well vetted. Our reputation is important to us. So I would never, everything is verified here. We don't share grants that are not legitimate. We don't share pitch competitions. Anything that we have not verified is legitimate. And nobody has come back and said that they were scammed by us or anybody that we referred, period. Okay? So we're happy to refer you. You can always reach out to us at hello@SheBossTalk. I've referred accountants, tax professionals, and other types of help if it's not something that we do. We always build up our network. You need a network of people, trustworthy people, that you can call on when you need help. Stop going to these fly-by-night people that's messing you up. This is causing you all types of problems. Don't do it. You're part of our network now. We're happy to share our resources. We do it all the time because we want you to be successful in your business. We don't want you all to be penalized. We don't want you to be in jail. So that's why we spend the time to come out here and educate, make you aware of what's happening. So now you're alert, you can be aware, and you don't fall for the scams out there, and you're not frauded. They should not be charging you all this money on the back end. They're not supposed to charge you more than 3% if they charge you at all. If you do need free assistance on these programs, please contact the SBA, contact the Small Business Development Center. You can contact SCORE. Every area has a local SCORE office, local Small Business Development Center, local SBA center, local Women's Business Center, urban leagues. They're all helping with all of these different stimulus programs, so you can get the help you need for free. We also have other resources, YouTube channel that has helped people for free content. And then we offer other tools and resources for a nominal fee as well. We do provide one-on-one consults as well. And we don't charge thousands of dollars for a consult. And I don't charge on the back end. I charge on the front end. Okay. And then you get results. You're educated. And we give you a recap. You get all the information. Okay. We don't do things in secrecy. Okay. So just be mindful of that. If the people you're working with don't do that, then you need to be working with someone else. So I hope this has been beneficial, okay, to you. We want to avoid the fraud and scams. Do that. Let us know if you have had any challenges. If there's something going on with your applications, PPP or Eidl, if you've experienced any of these things, again, go to the hotline. You can always report it anonymously. Continue to be the boss with Amplify Impact. Continue to stay safe and in good health. Have a wonderful day.